Welcome, everyone. We are so glad you're here for today's conversation about daily practices to nurture your mental health. Let's start with a staggering yet eye-opening fact. Nearly 1 in 5 adults experience mental health challenges every single year. That's millions of people, friends, family, co-workers, navigating invisible struggles. And yet, many of us don't take the small, meaningful steps that could dramatically improve our mental well-being. Why is that?
Life moves fast.
Stress piles up. And sometimes, we forget that taking care of our mental health is just as important as looking after our physical health. But know this, your mental health matters and it's worth prioritizing. That's why today, Colleen and Claudette will discuss something incredibly powerful. Simple, practical daily habits that can nurture your mind, lift your spirit, and help you show up fully in your life. In a world that's constantly demanding more of us, it's crucial to carve out time for what really matters you. So, whether you're here to learn a new tip, find encouragement, or simply remind yourself that you're not alone, you're in the right place. Let's explore how small, intentional actions can create big changes in your mental health. So, stick with us. This conversation could be the start of something transformative.
Hi, good morning. Oh my God, it feels as if it's been forever since we've been here. How are you, girl?
I'm okay. Okay.
Just okay?
All right. I'm great.
Okay, don't let me force you to say you're great. Don't let me
No,
force
I,
you.
I, I need to say it and believe it so it can manifest.
Okay, today is not a spiritual conversation. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Claudia Testerine, and I am the president and chairperson of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. And with me this morning is...
Pauline Lamota.
Okay, and Colleen is a member and admin of the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. And we are here for, as I said, it feels like it's been over a month since we've had a Saturday morning conversation, at least you and I.
So
And
true.
so, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We are the Daughters of Sheba Foundation. We are a 4-year nonprofit organization based in Canada. We are a Canadian nonprofit organization. We are headquartered in Edmonton, Alberta, but we are a Canada-wide organization. And Saturday Morning Conversations is one of the several social media programs that we host, broadcast, if you want to say. And today, on this conversation, we are going to be talking about some daily practices to nurture your mental health. You know, there are a lot of people who will say they don't have mental health challenges, and I know they're lying. I'm just going to be straight. I remember when I was doing my chaplaincy training. Yes, I'm a trained pastoral counselor, and I remember when I was doing that, one of my supervisors said, and we all have a mental health challenge because we're alive, we're humans, we grew up we were trained by parents, and that has in itself has side effects. So as the opening said, 1 in 5 adults experience mental health challenge every year. And by experience and mental health challenge, it means something like about a depression, some panic attacks or something like that, just not the regular run-of-the-mill moment of anxiety. It's not a moment, it's an episode. But yet, many struggle to incorporate some simple habits that can affect how they're affected and can impact and positively impact their daily lives and significantly improve their mental well-being. So that's what we want to talk about today. I think I don't know if you checked, Colleen, but I think the statistics the last time I checked was somewhere between 250 to 300 million people worldwide have
Wow.
a mental health issue, at least one, meaning
Wow.
active mental health problem. So,
And
mhm.
I believe it because, as you said, everybody have some form of mental health in some way. Sometimes it's just subtle,
Mhm.
and it's still a form of mental health. Some people, when they hear mental health, they think about the
Walking
bad
out on the
people,
street
the bad people
naked.
on the
Yeah.
road. Yes, walking around, but they don't realize that, as you said, the anxiety issues is a part of mental health.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. And, we need to, we say it all the time. People say it all the time. You hear it on social media, you read it in the newspapers, you hear it on the radio, television, that mental health is just as important as physical health. And
Mhm.
many countries and many places, even many communities like the Black community, for example, do not see it that way. They think it's something that
It's
you can
bad,
just
yeah.
ignore, or is a no offense meant. I'm just going to say something here. That is a white people thing. No, it's not. Or it's just something that happens in the movies. It happens to every race, every culture, everywhere. So today we're going to dive into some daily practices that can help each of us to nurture our mental health, ensuring that we feel more balanced, more focused, more resilient in this fast-paced world. And particularly as this foundation is a woman-centered foundation, every time I come live, I just have to use the opportunity to remind the men who keep trolling us that we're not for them. This is a woman-centered organization. So this conversation will gear, yes, it can apply to everyone, but there are certain factors of what we'll be discussing will be for women and women particularly. So we want to look at how, where am I'm ready this week. I actually got this ready. So let's have a look here. So that's what we're going to be looking at today, the importance of mental health, the importance of recognizing that mental health is something that we all need to pay attention to. We're also going to be looking at the challenges of maintaining mental health amid stress, especially at this time. I mean, all of you know that I'm always on social media, and I am on all the platforms you can think of. I've even found a new platform, which, I'm going to be kind of deactivating our Twitter account. I'm not going to be using it as much, and that's a political stance from my point of view.
Or the X.
I'm not into Elon Musk. I don't want to have anything to do with him, and I'm not supporting his platform any further. Not that we have a big following over there. On my personal Twitter account, I do have a big enough following, but on Daughters of Sheba Foundation, we're just going to deactivate that. So we're going to go over, there's a new one called the Blue Wave or Blue Sky or something like that. I'm going to give that a try. In any event, I'm on social media all the time, and I see, since the election in the United States, I see my American sisters. Some of them are having a panic attack, some of them are stressed out, some of them don't care, some of them are happy. Various levels and various types of responses. But the bottom line is that everyone is affected some way, somehow, some form. Kind of concerned about, or stressed out, some might be, about what come January, what the next 4 years after that is going to be. Also, I don't know, Colleen, are you into astrology? I've been seeing and watching a lot of stuff about, yesterday was a full moon, and
Okay.
they were talking about that come Tuesday, which is the 19th of November, we'll be
Uh-huh.
entering a new period in our growth.
Okay.
I remember what it's called. Pluto will be entering Aquarius, and will be there for the next 20 years. And they're talking about all that happened. This happened over 200 years ago, and all that happened then. Like the Haitian Revolution, the
Yeah.
American Revolution,
Uh-huh.
Irish upheaval, and all kind of revolutionary things the last time it happened. So the next 20 years is going to be interesting according to the astrology. So we have all of that going on and people getting stressed out. So I want to talk about that this morning. How do we maintain our mental health amidst all of these stressors, and look at some practical daily practices that we can have. And in between, I know for sure I will share my story. I don't know about Colleen, if she has any challenges or ever had any challenges with mental health that she will share. So let's just get right into it. So let us start with the maintaining our mental health amidst the stresses
Right.
of life. Colleen, you want to kick us off?
Yes. Well, we have several ways we can,
So let us
several
talk about some of
things,
the common, yeah, some of the,
several things that causes
yeah.
mental health. And the biggest one, of course, is stress.
Hmm.
That's the biggest one. And stress come in all forms, shape and size. And then the next one, should I go into details or wait for later? Because I can.
Just let's first of all see if we have the same list of some of the things that
All
cause
right.
challenge our mental health on a daily basis.
The one on the top of my list is stress.
Okay.
Then there is self care, because a lot of us don't really look after ourselves, and that can have a ripple effect on us.
Right.
Also, self care involves how you eat, because a lot of us don't eat properly, and
Hmm.
that can also affect our health, because remember, they say the gut is our second brain.
Hmm.
So, and also communicating with others. We don't have not that you don't have a social life, but we don't have somebody we can lean on, or anybody we can talk to that we can release stress, or we don't do things that can release stress. So yeah, that is another one too. And physical activity, of course, you can leave out the being active part.
Oh, but is that
And
as a cure, or because we're talking about the things that cause? So
yeah, those
physical.
are what they're not doing
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
that can cause it. Those are things that can trigger it, that
Oh,
can
I see.
create it. It's a build up, because things don't just happen overnight. Most
Hmm.
times it build up over time, and then if you don't address it properly, it's just like a time bomb. It does and goes off. So
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
you have to watch the signs and know that you need to address it before it becomes a time bomb.
Okay, okay. I had some of the same one as you.
Mhm.
Just to go into this little detail about mine, I have one of the highest, one of the common obstacles to maintaining our mental health amid stress is stress from work or our personal responsibilities, whether it's that as
Mhm.
a mother, as a worker,
Yeah,
as a neighbor, just stress that we
yeah.
encounter throughout our
That's why I
day.
say it can come from all types. All
Yeah,
kinds of stress can come from
yeah,
all types, from
yeah.
everywhere.
The other one that I have, which you
Hmm.
didn't mention, I also had self-care, like you had said,
Yeah.
finding time to take care of ourselves. And I also had rising anxiety levels due to what we were talking about before, the social pressures, societal pressures, or too much information, the digital overload that we're all
That's
experiencing.
true. Yes, I overlooked that one. Mhm.
So, how often do we prioritize everything else but neglect our own mental wellness? We take our mental wellness for granted. Even within relationships that we are having, whether they're intimate relationships or interpersonal relationships with just friends and so forth. How do we prioritize our mental health? That too can be a stressor because I know for sure I have had relationships, friendships where it seems as if like I was doing all of the work to maintain
Mhm.
the relationship, and it gets overwhelming. It can become overwhelming when there's someone in your life, whether intimately or just as a friend, who you're the one constantly doing everything to to
Keep
maintain,
it together. Yeah.
yeah, to keep the relationship alive. So those are some of the ones. I don't know if there are others that people might have. They can drop it in the comments and we can talk about that. So
Not to mention the workplaces.
where I think you know, so we talked, I said earlier that we're going to share personal stories, and I don't have a problem with sharing mine. Since you talk about workplace stress, I have left, I think, at least 3 jobs in my lifetime due to mental health issues. And, people might wonder, is this woman crazy? Sometimes I am crazy. But I remember the first time I left a job, I didn't know that I didn't have the label for it, and at the time I was working in Jamaica. It was a fantastic job. As a young person at the time, I was late 20s, early 30s, and fantastic job at the highest level. But I had a boss lady who she was a terrorist. Sorry to use that word. I hope they don't flag this, but she was a demon. And I remember the day or the week that I left, I literally walked off the job. She I got to the gate because there's a security gate, and I got to the security gate, and I had to park the car before getting to the security to get to drive onto the premises, and I had to park the car a little down the road and get out and vomit. I was so constantly
Wow.
stressed and nervous about going to work when that woman took over.
Mm,
I had to vomit, and it was in that moment I knew I could not continue in this job. Luckily
yeah.
for me, I got something else soon after, and it happened to me twice again. Not as extreme, because I learned later on in
Right.
life to read the signs to know when, okay, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth my mental
Right.
health. And this was after having gone through a period of chronic depression and therapy. I learned how to handle, well, first, how to recognize the signs, and how to handle. And maybe we should talk about that. Have you ever had the experience, Colleen, of any mental health situation and had to go through some kind of, maybe not formal therapy, and learned or read online or somewhere, um, what are the signs to know that, okay, I'm not in a good place?
Well, I I don't know. Maybe I've been through mm, some form of mental health
Mental health
problem.
challenge, yeah.
Yes. I'm thinking the last job I had teaching it was becoming very stressful. I mean, I've been teaching for many, many years, and I switched from, a nice school to a not so nice public one. And I'm telling you, within the first 2 weeks, I lost so much weight because every time as I reach a school gate, you hear fight every morning. It's a fight. So I tell you, it was a shock to my entire system.
Hmm.
But I try to cope, and I tell myself that I can do it because I'm a person who I don't like to back out of something from once I start. I like to just try, even if I think it's not working right now. I try to work with it. I'm very flexible, so I try to work with what I get.
Hmm.
Sometimes I do that and I end up breaking, but at least I said I
You
gave it a shot.
tried.
So when I was went same school, and I eventually get to learn how the system run now, the new system, and I try to cope with it. Many years pass and get to love it, love the children, but each year is like, I don't know what they're eating, but the kids that come to that school, they get worse and worse. And I don't know if it's my system was breaking down and cannot tolerate it anymore, or
Hmm.
it's really the kids getting worse and worse. So at one point recently, when it started affecting me physically. I started having issues with my back, my spine. I did a lot of MRIs. I did a lot of physical therapy. And there was one point where I went on on leave, medical leave, and it was the best time at home,
Mhm.
relaxing. Didn't have the loud noise of it's not like American school, you might hear it quiet or so. I mean, it's my local school. A lot of noise. I didn't hear the noise. I could relax. It was peaceful and I felt good. So I said, yes, I'm ready to go back to school. Went back to school. 2 weeks after that, sick again.
Mhm.
And that happened for about 3 times.
Mhm.
And I said, no, it must be the school. I started fearing going to work in the mornings.
And
I
that
said,
that
yes,
is one of the biggest signs, when you in terms of a job, when you fear waking up in the morning and you have this dread in the pit of your stomach about
yes,
going to work.
that's
That's yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and
And
and it's like when you see Sunday come around, Monday is next, and it's like, oh man,
I mean, lots of just about all of us on a Sunday night have that moment. But when it's intense, you know that okay, something is wrong here when you dread going to work.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to dread going to work. I'm telling you, I used to dread because shortly after that, I don't know if it's the my mental status why it started manifesting in my body as an ailment. That's what I think.
Mhm.
Because they always say, your brain is what does it for your body. So I think because of my mental health deteriorating, it started manifesting as illness throughout my body.
Okay, so
And
let
then,
us. Sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay, no, it's okay. I was just gonna tell you that yes, I end up they after I left, they keep calling me back to relieve teachers. I
Mhm.
go back every time I go back, I
It
get sick.
happens. Oh my
And
God.
until I start developing new things, I started developing anxiety issues too. So there you go. So it and other things start
What about
manifesting.
in relationships? What are some of the signs that
Oh Lord.
you are developing? Um, I mean, you have bad relationships. I mean, no, I shouldn't say bad. You have relationships that are
When
rocky
you
at
don't want to go
points.
home.
Yes. I remember, oh my God, I remember my still to this day, the longest term partner I've ever had saying to me that that was when they knew that this relationship that they were having with me was over. When they leave work and get into the car and just
and
kept driving around,
and
not
don't want
wanting
to go
to,
home.
it at the time I deflected, but now later on in life I realized what a mess I personally was and was causing
Yeah.
this. Yeah, so that's one, when you don't want to go home. What's
Mhm.
another, would you say, another sign when you're in a relationship that you are developing mental health issues within that relationship? Not that you brought to, but yeah, we brought it, but it's getting bad. It's getting bad, out of
When
control.
when you see the person and suddenly feel sick, you just don't want to. You just don't want to be around them. You just suddenly feel ill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when I was pregnant. Because I was pregnant twice, right? And well, to term, and the first one was stillborn. Eventually, was stillborn. But when I was pregnant that time, I didn't want my husband to touch me. You know,
Mhm.
I thought it was kind of like normal, but then
Oh,
it just got worse,
yeah.
and it I don't know. I don't know if that's considered a mental health problem that I was having.
I probably think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
I just
sometimes the pregnancy can cause that, you know.
that's what I read because
Mm-hmm.
I wondered about it, and that's what I read, that the pregnancy can can cause that,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't want intimacy and so forth. But I've also seen in relationships that um you just don't want to be around the
Yes.
person, and having to be around the person is such a stressor for you. You get anxious, you get angry, your temper, you're short tempered, and all of that combined,
Because
it's
you associate whatever you are going through with the person. So when you see the person, all you see is the problems between you. And because of that, the feelings your feelings just go. And all that it's replaced with is anger and animosity and all of that. So yeah,
yeah.
it happens. And when you see that, it's either you need some help or you need to move on. One out of the two.
Why do because you said you need some help. I want to word this correctly. Why, when you are in a situation, whether it's at work or maybe not at work, but in a relationship, and it gets to that stage when one or both of you feel repulsed by the other,
Mhm.
you're getting physically ill because you don't want to be in the relationship anymore. What do you think going for help is going to do? Do you think that going for help, meaning counseling, is going to fix it?
Well, sometime it does, and it's
Mm.
because we've viewed because it's always because of the issues that you're having in the house, the issues between you. And if you can sort it out and recognize that it's not really the person that is the problem, but it's just that we cannot manage the issues that you're having between you.
Mm.
Maybe communication is bad and you're not understanding each other. And
Mhm.
because of that, you're going to create a wall and you don't want to hear what the other person is saying and vice versa. And that's where everything goes awry.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so, so you see, uh, maybe a third person can intervene and get you to both of you to understand each other some more. On your own, you cannot do it, but maybe somebody can get you and say, no, this is what this person means when they say that. This is what they mean when they do that. And if you can try doing it this way, let us see. And you work on it. If you work on it for a period of time and it's still not getting any better, then you know that is it. That's where it ends. And you just go your own way.
So we talked about some of the signs at work
Mhm.
that you're going through a mental health episode. We talked about signs, some of the signs in a intimate relationship that you're going through,
But
either both of you.
there's one we didn't talk about in the
As I'm about
workplace.
to say, is there another? Is there any
In
other
the,
that we?
but it's in the same workplace,
Hmm.
but it could be anywhere, but the same workplace. Let's start there. Some people, it's not a co-worker or anything that or is giving you the problem, but it's you yourself,
Okay.
meaning you are taking on too many tasks and you're overworking yourself, and that can be very detrimental to your health.
Your health
Doing
or
too
your mental
much,
health?
your mental health. When
Okay.
you overwork yourself, you get stressed, you get anxiety issues start cropping up. And that is you doing too much and not incorporating self-care to
And
de-stress.
also, I have been at that place, and I watch people in that place, and I've spoken to people in that place, and I see people in that place right now. When you try, there is a Peter principle. It said that we all reach our level of incompetence, which means basically that we all reach a level where we're just not good anymore. That's not our lane. That's not our place to
Right.
perform. That's our place of excellence. And I'm watching people kill themselves mentally
Mhm.
trying to perform in a lane that
Yeah.
is not theirs to perform in, you
Especially
know.
when they want to prove to somebody that they can do it. They want to prove themselves then that
Yeah.
they are capable of doing something. Sometimes they overdo it,
I
you know.
remember many years ago when I was in university, and there was it was in Europe, and there was an older, at the time, older gentleman, he was in his approaching 40. And not to say that I'm almost 60, so not to say that you can't s- teach an old dog new trick or anything like that. But I remember when we were leaving Jamaica to go to this university. Good morning, good Saturday morning to you too, Gabrielle. Thanks for joining us from Nigeria. Well, it's afternoon for you. Um, he was entering medical school at almost 40 years of age.
Mhm.
And we all laughed, and looking back, it might have been unkind. Speaking for myself, it might have been unkind and judgmental of me to think that somebody of that age cannot start practicing medicine at that
Mm.
age. But he eventually dropped out, and later on, I understand that I think he went into physiotherapy or something like that. But we just have to know when to say, I can't do
Yeah,
this.
I can't do
This
this.
is beyond me.
You have to know your league, your line, your race lane. You have to stay in your lane. Not that you can't step out and try something, but I guess he tried and it didn't work. So I wouldn't beat him too bad.
No, no,
He tried.
I'm not beating him. I'm just using
Mhm.
it as an example of the
Right.
kind of stress, the self-inflicted stress, as you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, that we put ourselves through trying to live up to other people's
People.
expectations,
Right.
to compete with other
Right.
people, or to prove that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm good, I'm
I'm
smart,
capable of.
I'm
Mhm.
whatever. All
Don't
right.
have to prove to anybody
No, you
but
don't.
yourself.
Absolutely. All
That's
right.
all.
So, what are some practical daily practices that we can do to improve, maintain, manage our mental health and the challenges that we face? One of the first one that come to me is what I'm doing now. I'm not going through a mental health crisis. I'm not, but
Mhm.
I have in the past. And because I have in the past, and I went through therapy and learned the signs, the triggers, and so forth. But also, I learned how to not get to that point, of stress.
Right.
So for me, one of the things that I use is silence. You know, um,
Okay.
up to this week, I remember saying to Colleen, she asked me, how am I doing? And I said, I'm silent. you know, um, I remember once literally going on a silence retreat. Not once, I did it a couple times, where I left my family, left my home, and I went off. It was a Catholic institution, and I went there for the entire weekend. I checked in on a Friday and left on a Sunday evening and was in complete silence for the
Wow.
entire weekend. You didn't talk to anybody. If you wanted, they could just leave the food at your door. It was like a nun. What's it called? A convent.
Convent.
So yeah, so you had, it was nicely furnished, but you had your own room, and you could drop off the food at your door if you didn't want to go to the hall. But even in the hall, you didn't speak. You
That's a
didn't.
that sounds really nice.
It
Really.
was. It was, and it was completely healing for me. And
Mhm.
no, I'm doing that again. I'm not. I haven't left the girls because I'm alone with the girls. But like once they're in school, I'm just completely silent. Because I'm
And
processing stuff.
but
So that's one thing I do.
the strangest thing, Claudette, about what you see. As much as it will work for you, some people are the opposite.
Hmm.
They just cannot keep silent. For
Oh yeah, I
example,
know.
during the pandemic, and they had to stay home. It was awful for them because they couldn't see their friends, they couldn't go out, and they had mental issues because of that. So sometimes the opposite can cause it. I don't know. It's just weird.
I will disagree with you. I think the mental issue start is not about this because of the silence. The mental issue is because they cannot face their own demons. They don't want to be with themselves, and
No,
they don't know what to do with themselves. I remember a
no.
woman years ago telling me that
That sounds true. Yeah.
she wouldn't leave work unless she knew, meaning at the end of the workday, she
Mhm.
wouldn't leave work, or if she left work, she wouldn't go home because she didn't want to be at home alone. She
Mm.
hated being alone. And I said to her, you don't like your own company, and that's the
Yeah, that's
problem.
true.
That's the problem. So, like the pandemic period, the lockdown, it
Hmm.
was heaven
Me
for
too.
me. It was heaven for me. I loved it. I got into the habit of not habit, the
Didn't
practice
bother
of
me.
having my grocery being delivered and all that.
Mhm.
And weeks would go by, and the only time I spoke with anybody was over WhatsApp or video call. But
Mhm.
other than that, I didn't speak with a soul. And that year of lockdown was bliss for me. So, and one of the reasons, that I got married to my late husband was that he understood that. He understood that there are times when I don't want to talk, and we would be when I was visiting Jamaica, and we would be driving, as you would know, he lived in St. Thomas, and we would be driving from St. Thomas to Negril. And, that's like a 4 or 5 hour drive. And for
Mhm.
2 hours, we wouldn't talk. And he was fine with it. I was fine with it. The music would be on. And, the only time he would say anything was like, would you like something to eat? You need us to stop for something to eat or something like that. We wouldn't talk. We drove in silence. So for me, that is
Mhm.
one, it's not practical for a lot of people. For
Right.
me, that's one practical thing that I do to take care of myself and to take care of my mental health. What about you?
I I to I, I totally get it because I'm like that too. I don't talk while driving either.
Yeah.
So unless there's an issue and it needs immediate discussion, but otherwise I'm just the same. Silence, it doesn't bother me. Over the pandemic, it didn't phase me at all. So I am like that person. I like peace and quiet. I will communicate when I need to, but otherwise, peace and quiet is fine for me. And what I'll do sometimes is depends on the mood, because sometimes I'll feel like maybe I'll listen to some, nice music,
Mhm.
or I'll watch one of my favorite TV shows, and that can, calm yourself. It depends on what you can use to calm your inner being. So everybody can use different things. I like to just relax, as I said, and probably watch a movie. And it depends on the movie. Sometimes I want a slow pace one to get me just relaxed, and I do that at times. That's one of the things I do.
Okay. And then if you want to get into the whole thing of mindfulness and meditation, that works. I am not good at meditating. No, seriously, I fall asleep. I don't have the discipline. I mean, maybe I need to work on it, but mindfulness and meditation, even 5 minutes. I mean, I can do 5 minutes. If you spend 5 minutes a day focusing on your breathing, it's they say, and I know it can reset your entire mood, your entire attitude, your chain of thought. It just
Mhm.
stops whatever racing you have going on in your head. um
And did
that
you
mhm.
go ahead? Sorry.
No, 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 I'm done.
And did you know that prayer too? Some prayer is a form of meditation.
Yes, it
Can be.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
people
that's
don't.
why even on our platform, sometimes we post a prayer in the morning, we post a prayer at bedtime, and we post a midday meditation. And sometimes in the morning or even at night, I will call it an affirmation, because prayer affirmation is the same thing. It's all
Yeah.
about just stopping and calming
Being,
yourself.
Yes, being more mindful, being in the present, being in the now, and just sit. And as you said, silence, just sit down and just calm, be calm. It will do a wonder of good for your brain. Also, gratitude.
She always comes back to her
Gratitude.
gratitude.
I'm telling you, you have to be grateful every single day. And every morning you wake up, you have to say some things that you're grateful for. And the first thing, you should be grateful for waking up any at all. So, you get another chance to do whatever you didn't get to do or to make something right. So it's another chance, another day, another chance to get something done
One
right.
of the things I've been doing or try to do, because I used to have, I still have a challenge with as I wake up, I reach for my phone. It's
You
it's
need to
it's
unplug.
yes. I'm learning that. I'm learning how
Mhm.
to unplug. I'm
Mhm.
sleeping better. I'll have you
Okay,
know,
that's good.
I'm sleeping better. I go to bed and I actually sleep throughout the night. So yeah. I'm now getting maybe 6 hours of sleep,
Wow.
coming from two, so,
Hey,
but
great.
yeah, but I have this tendency as my eyes open to reach for my phone. So now I do one of two things, and it is helping me mentally. Um, I tr- I try not to reach for my phone. I try to not. I try. I stay there. I lie there for at least 5 minutes, and like you're saying, just repeat it. I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for another day. I'm grateful for a roof over my head. I'm grateful for my grandbabies. And especially if the little one is sleeping with me, because more often than not, she wants to sleep with me. I might roll over and hug her and say, I'm grateful for this sweetheart, my bestie, because we call each other bestie. And so I spend 5 minutes doing that. Um, if it's longer than 5 minutes, I will go into trying to thinking about setting the tone for my day. They call it pre-paving. Some people call it pre-paving. Pre-paving my day. So I see in my mind how I want to spend the day, and it
Uh,
it 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 works. It works wonders for you mentally, in terms of not just spirituality. It
Set your
works,
intention.
yeah, it works wonders for keeping you calm. It works wonders for it's almost like your
Mhm.
agenda for the day,
Right.
but not in a panic state. Lord, I have to do this, I have to do that.
No.
No, that's
Mm-mm.
not what we're
Mhm.
talking about. So it's being mindful about how you
Yes.
want the day to
To,
progress.
to, to be right.
Yeah, so
And you
you,
could
you can call that
include
meditation if you want.
kind of, yes.
Hmm.
Just being intentional with
Yeah,
what you want to do.
yeah.
And what about deep breathing? Deep breathing
Works
really
also.
relaxes. It calms you, and it slows down your blood pressure too. And because yes, if you have a racing heart, just do
No,
some
I'm
deep.
laughing because Gabriel comment. We are indeed very happy that you can get some good sleep now. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah,
Okay.
it's been known. Those folks who don't know, it's been known in our Daughters of Sheba Foundation community that I don't sleep. Oh well, I used to not sleep. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah, deep breathing exercises are and walking. You talked earlier about exercise, and I'm
Yeah.
not an exercise person, but that's another option, going for a short walk. And they say that it releases endorphins and
Endorphins. Yes.
and lower stress. So that's
Right.
another practical thing that you can do to
Do. Mhm.
protect your mental health. Journaling is another thing.
Yes.
Writing down your thoughts can help you process whatever emotions you have going on there, and it can help you to clear your mind. They say writing clarifies. So
That is
journaling,
true. Journaling
yeah.
or gratitude journal. But
Okay. The gratitude is a must, as the song says. But it goes beyond. It is gratitude, but it goes beyond that.
Yes, you
I
can write
remember
out
back in
your
the day they
feelings.
used to
Yeah.
call it stream of consciousness, where
Mhm.
you just write whatever is in your mind, just clear it by writing. And actually, some people after, especially if it was negativity, they would get rid of the
Get
paper
rid of
or what,
it.
yeah, afterwards. So there is that. There is
And
that.
you know what I used to do also? I used to like, get to know yourself, look in the mirror sometimes, talk to yourself. Sound like I'm crazy, huh?
No, you're not.
But yes, you talk to yourself and you give yourself positive affirmations, you're looking so great today. Wow, I'm looking so nice, you're happy. And you just talk to yourself, say lots of positive, shower yourself with positivity. And it
No,
can
it's
help
you're
set
right.
your, yes, so show yourself with positivity. Because the world today, a lot of negatives are just flowing around. So many things, so many killings, so many wars. We need a lot of positive energy
And
to
the thing
keep
is,
us. Mhm.
we have a tendency to focus on those things that you said
Yes.
are happening
Mhm.
instead of going inside. And people listening to us might say, "Oh, these two old women, they're Pollyannas, them and them go within thing." But it works. It
It
works.
works. It
It
does.
it absolutely works. And I remember this week sharing a video about a young lady. It was just a clip, but the video itself was about self love, and
Mhm.
it was about a young lady who gathered her three children, got in here in Canada, in Ontario, gathered her three children, got into her car, and drove to Niagara Falls. And if you know Niagara Falls, you have to
Yeah.
park, walk through the parking lot and whatever. And she jumped off
Oh Lord.
the falls with her three kids, with the three children. And the story is that it was over a relationship, she and the baby daddy. I don't know if it's the father of all three kids or what, but they were having problems, and that was her solution to the problem. You know, people, that's a mental health issue, a major mental
It's
health issue,
major one.
um, because had she opened up, which is another practical steps that I have on my list
Yeah.
about your
Talk to
social
someone. Mhm.
connections, talking to someone. Had
Mhm.
she opened up to someone in a real way, not just to say, this man is bad or this man is this, or complaining about the man, but actually going to counseling, be it with a pastor, be it with a licensed counselor, a therapist, or just a good friend who is a good listener, maybe those three babies would still be with us, even if
Um,
she jumped. How can you
yeah,
think of jumping
and
and then taking the three kids with you
kids
while you
with
jump?
you. That's
What
what
do
I'm
they have to
saying.
do with it? What do
The
they have to do with it?
poor innocent children. No,
Yeah, they have
I
nothing
mean,
to do with it. But so that points to me that this woman was definitely psycho.
yep.
I'm sorry, I'm not being derogatory, but it's
Sorry,
just the truth. And
just she stepped over the border.
yeah, yeah, she
Mm,
definitely stepped out of the border, stepped through the window, and
that's
went
true. Hmm.
and did not seek the help that she needed. And
You
this is a
did.
problem when we don't recognize, and this is why this conversation, some people might not find it interesting. I do. Um, some people, I was listening to somebody on TikTok this morning, and he did a diagram of three different types of people. Somebody who is at, I don't want to say the highest, but at a high level of self analysis, self reflection, who
Mhm.
is very self aware. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Somebody in the middle and somebody who is nowhere near. And he was saying that which something we all know, but it's always good to hear somebody, and this was a younger man repeating it. He was saying that the person who was at the bottom of his chart has no sense of self, doesn't know who he or she is,
It really
and
is. Yeah.
spend no time in self-reflection, no time getting to know
You know,
themselves, and everything that happens to them is somebody else's fault.
faults. Yep.
And this is where the seat of mental health, in my opinion, is, because I was there. Like I said,
Mm.
I I
Play
believe
the blame game.
yeah, I believe personally that I struggled with mental health issues from I was a young person. You know, I I still haven't done my other part of my story, and but
Childhood trauma.
it's part of my childhood trauma.
Mhm.
And I didn't know, so I would go from relationship, from situation, from jobs or whatever, and all of these things would be following me, and
Mhm.
I didn't know that. Hey, you need to heal.
Mhm.
Something is going, things, not something, many things are going on
Going
inside of you
on
due to what
that they can't
happened to
process.
you. Yeah, due to what happened to you over the years. And none of this, what we're talking about this morning, none of this is journaling and gratitude journal and
Right.
mindfulness and going for a short walk. None of this would have made sense to me then.
Right.
um, it wasn't until I hit my rock bottom, and my rock bottom was attempting to take myself out twice, not once but twice, and this was in my early 40s. So it took me all of 40 years to come to the full realization that something is wrong.
Mhm.
And it's not because, and at the time that I tried to take myself out of this world, it was because of, not because, it was at the time, at the end of my longest term relationship, and I tried to do that because it ended abruptly. Well, the writing was on the wall, but it ended abruptly.
Right.
And I never had, at 41, 42, whatever age it was, I never had the understanding that. And I was in the period of going through my chaplaincy training. And that was part of what saved me, because we had to go through therapy. And so I started to understand that, okay, maybe I really need to talk to somebody here. And I went, it took me a while to find a professional therapist, but I was talking to spiritual directors and so forth, and that's when my process of healing started. And
Started.
I watch a lot of people on social media, and a lot of them call themselves influencers, and I'm watching them and I'm looking at them and I'm saying to myself, girl, you don't know how bad it is with you. And I'm
Mm.
talking about women mainly.
Yeah.
um I'm leaving the men alone. And I'm saying to myself, they're there, they're carrying on, they think they're on top of the world, they have 600K followers. Incidentally,
Mhm.
we are over 100K followers now. And how much followers do we have now? Anyway, um, they think they're on top of the world, and I'm looking at them and I'm saying, you really don't know how messed up you are. You really don't know how messed up you are.
But most of them, Claudette, most of them just put on a show for their audience. And as soon as the curtain goes down, they have their real life going back to, and most of the real life is probably not even good. It's terrible, a lot of them, but they have to present themselves in a different way on the stage in front of their audience.
And they wouldn't
So
come and do something like this that we're doing, having an honest
that's the
conversation
thing.
and being open
They wear a mask.
and
That's it.
and saying that, listen, I nearly took myself out twice in my
Mhm.
life, and I don't know, I'm sure you don't know who I'm about to who I'm about to reference now. There is a couple, it's a Jamaican couple, who they've been going through challenges for years, and he's cheated on her. Well, it became public once, and it was up for public debate and shown on social media, and everybody had their opinion, and then people were thinking she shouldn't take him back and all of that. She took him back, and now in the last 2 weeks, he he was arrested for molestation of a 12-year-old
Wow.
in his own
Wow.
house. And
Wow.
the debate has started again as to why did she go back to him back then? She should have left him back then, and la 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 la. I'm not here to talk about him in terms of what he allegedly did,
Mm-hmm.
because that in itself is a whole different
Different
ball of wax, a whole
ball
different
game.
show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about her,
Mm-hmm.
because I am not here to judge her whether she should leave him or should leave him. I am saying, girl, where's your self esteem? Girl, where's your sense of self worth? Girl, do you know how messed up you are mentally? And because she comes on with all of the hair, no, she doesn't have gray hair like us, and she's fully made up, her face doesn't look
Mm.
like ours.
That's just a mask.
It's just a mask, and everybody else is out there raving, oh, she's so
Mhm.
strong. No, she's not strong, she's effing weak. If she was a strong woman, she would have, and I'm not blaming her for what happened to the kid, although it happened in her house and it's her stepchild as well, or whatever, or her child. That's another show entirely. Um, but her mental state is a mess. And
Right. Caused her to make wrong choices. Mm-hmm.
it caused her to make, and is still causing her to make the wrong choices, and but social media is as such that everybody is out here saying, oh, she's so strong. No, she's not strong. Stop telling her that. Tell her to go get some help. Tell her to come talk to us. tell, tell her to go talk to her mom, or maybe her mom, because you do have mothers from the old school who tell you
Yeah.
that you have to stand by your man, and all of that.
Yeah.
No, this man has brought shame and disgrace on the family. And
Right.
anyway,
Yeah. Oh Lord.
anyway, so
We all have our battles to fight in.
we all
That's
of our
our
battles,
battle.
and the armor for the battle, as we
Mm-hmm.
said, just to recap, is to self-reflection. And you
Right.
can do self-reflection through mindfulness practices,
Right.
meditation practices, exercise, going for a
Exercise.
short walk, journaling, whether it's a gratitude journal, prayers and meditate
Mm-hmm.
and affirmations.
One
And
more. Go
which other
ahead.
one? Go ahead, you go.
I'm going to add eat right.
Okay. And tell us how that affects your mental. I'm not saying I don't agree, but tell us how it affects your mental health.
Because what you put in your body is going to reflect outside. It's
Mhm.
going to affect your mood also. Food, especially very sweet stuff. If you're gonna live on that, it's gonna affect you. It can give you inflammation.
Okay.
That's a big killer. And any part of your body can become inflamed. And sometimes when you're sick and you feel your joints, and you know what, inflammation can damage organs in your body, because
Mhm.
any one of your organs can be inflamed. And because inflammation is telling you that your body is fighting something. So when your body become inflamed, you're fighting something, and you need to know what it is you're fighting. And it's usually the food, because you're not eating properly. And sometimes you have to know be careful what you eat, when you eat, how you eat. Oh Lord, that alone sounds stressful, doesn't it? But it's for your own good, and you have to be more mindful then. Let me put it this way: be more mindful of what you eat. You I would say some people would tell you to go on this diet. I would say no. See what works for you, because what worked for one person might not work for the other. So
Mhm.
I would say try different things and see what worked for you. A lady I was listening to, is this morning or last night, she was saying that intermittent fasting really works. I hear a lot of people saying that.
Some
Um,
say no, some say it does. Yeah.
yeah. She said she don't eat until like she don't eat breakfast. Her breakfast is like at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And because your stomach, your gut need that time to heal. It cannot manage so much food within a day. But the
Mhm.
strangest thing is, after like person like me, who are who's constantly on, well, not constantly, but recently I've been on medication. for a while. And all your meds say you have to take it
Food
after
with
a
food.
meal. So that forces you to eat constantly. Like even if it's 3 times a day, you have to eat 3 times a day in order to take it. So
You
how
know
will
what,
that
Colleen?
work?
I hear you what you're saying that she says, and like you said earlier about something else,
Hmm.
you have to do what works for you.
What works for you? That's what it
You know,
boils down to
so
me too.
some people can meditate. You know, they sit down and some people can do that. Some people can do intermittent fasting. You in everything we were made differently. And
Right.
I personally feel that meditation might work for you, fasting work for you,
Yeah.
walking works for me. Do what works for
Works
you.
for you.
Do what
Yeah.
makes you happy. Do what
Yes.
brings you into a greater awareness of yourself. That's
Right.
what is important. That connection with your
Right.
true self,
Truth self.
that healing that you
Right.
need in terms of your soul, your spirit. And I'm not talking about Christianity, I'm not talking about
Not at all.
religion here. It's
No.
about healing that part of you that is disconnected from life. And
Right.
a lot of these people that we see on television. I dreamt that I met Rihanna last night, by the way. Rihanna is my favorite young artist, or she's no longer artist, but anyway, I dreamt that I met her last night. And
Wow.
I'm here to tell you that even Rihanna have her own problems. Sometimes you look at her and you can see it written all over her face. Well, at least I
Hmm.
can see it written all over her face. Um, we all have our struggles, and that's what's important, to find what works for you, whether it is mindfulness, exercise, journaling, connecting with others. These things are small acts, but they're powerful
Right.
habits that can transform your
Exactly.
mental health. And it's not a race, it's a
Mm-mm.
journey. Like
Journey. It's
I
a
said
journey.
earlier, it took me to my 43rd years before I came into, and I'm not fully healed, nowhere near, but came into a place of, okay, this is Claudette, and I actually love her. I didn't love myself until I turned about 43, 44, because
Totally get it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I did the shit work on myself. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a ton of work, coming from being molested from I was 2 years of age, coming from being raped a couple of times in my life, coming from being molested by neighbors over and over and over. I still haven't told those stories yet. Coming from being, I don't call myself a victim, but coming from being almost murdered, sorry, almost unalive,
Analyzing.
almost being unalive by my child's father. It was a shit ton of work that I had to do. And
Yeah.
it took me 43, 44 years before I was able to look in a mirror and say, I love you, girl. And so today, with these kind of mindfulness, exercising, I don't exercise, but whatever, exercising, journaling, connecting with other people. Sometimes even Colleen just send me a message and say, how you're doing? And I say, I don't want to talk about it. And even that is, like I said, right now I'm going through a period of silence. And it's not because anything is wrong. Actually, it's because everything is good. And I am
Yes.
sometimes
And it
we
works for you.
it works for me right now
Mhm.
to be in silence. So yes,
Mhm.
with Colleen's help, I do things for our social media platforms and so forth. But I'm not talking a lot with anybody. I am not. We have a group and we have a chat group, and I'm not talking a lot. I'm there. I'm seeing if
Mhm.
somebody asks me something, I will respond. But right now, for me, I need to be silent. I am moving in silence. I am moving. I'm doing stuff. I'm doing me, but I'm doing it in silence. What about you, Colleen, as we wrap up?
Yes, I do the silence thing, but although I have others around me, so you can't really be too silent with them. But I'm not a talker. I don't really talk a lot. So I practice silence also. And I do other things. I'm trying my best to do make my bedtime routine, because they always say early to bed, early to rise, make a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I hope it can make me wealthy. But I need to work on that. I try to do a little exercise. Exercise don't mean you have to go on treadmill or you go run up and down, but you can walk within in your space, your small space, whatever you just keep your body moving for a while. And I think that is good enough for me. That is, whatever, as you said, whatever works for you, you do it. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I'm just saying, just prioritize your mental health. Get to know yourself and know what works for you and do it.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank everybody for being with us today, and I want to also thank anybody who's watching this afterwards. And I want to ask you as we wrap up here is, would love to hear from you. What's your go-to mental health practice? For me, it's silence. To some extent, it's silence for Colleen, but she also throws in a little exercise
Mm.
and journaling and her gratitude journal,
And deep
you know,
breathing.
and deep breathing. What's your go-to mental health practice? Share them in the comments below. And if you have any tips, more tips and insights, or if you want more tips and insight, check out our Facebook page, or you can check out our YouTube platform, our YouTube channel. Look in the search for women's health and mindfulness, women's mindfulness, and you will see that we do have a lot of other information that will assist you. We are not trained professionals always. Well, I am a trained chaplain behavioral counselor, but this conversation is not in that context. If you do, and we do recommend you find someone that you can speak with. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say not a religious person, because all they're going to do is beat you with the Bible. I'm talking about somebody who is neutral, in terms of coming from a practical, scientific, medical perspective to talk through whatever issues that you're having. If you need help in finding such a person, do send us a message and we will do our best to help you. But let's make mental wellness a priority
Right.
together. Let us make it a priority. And please share this video. Please comment and help us in the algorithms, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much, Colleen. Thank you for
You're
jumping in
welcome.
today. We are supposed
Thanks
to
for
be
having
having,
me.
oh, please. We're supposed to be talking with someone else. We were supposed to be talking with my friend today, but he had a scheduling issue, so he couldn't make it here today. So he will join us next week,
Next
Saturday
week.
morning, when we will talk about safety for women, especially in these times when we see and hear people talking about that our bodies is their choice. He it's funny, he and I had a conversation about safety for women. He was telling me about things that he and his wife and his child are doing to keep themselves safe, and then this happened. So it's even more relevant now than ever. And please join us tomorrow morning for our live on YouTube for our program Lift Carry. It's our Sunday inspirational program, and it's our Sunday inspirational live. And this week, Clara will be sharing a message about knowing your worth. So that's tomorrow. And then next week, Saturday morning, I'll have this conversation with our friend Floyd Gentle. So that's Saturday, the 23rd. So thank you. And don't ask me when I'm coming with the other part of my story, because I don't know. Colleen told me I talk too much. I should shut up and save the stories for the book. So maybe that's what I will do.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Thank you. I'm going back into my silence.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day, and thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.
Bye.